The account number was already on the projector screen when Devon Lamar Pritchett walked in. He saw it before he sat down, saw the last four digits, 7,741, displayed in a 14-point font on the mounted screen at the front of the 255th Judicial District Court. And something crossed his face so fast that only the people watching for it caught it. His attorney caught it, the bailiff caught it. Sonya Pritchett, seated at the opposite counsel table with her hands wrapped around a paper cup of water that had long gone cold, caught it. And for the first time in 2 years, she felt something loosen in her chest that she had stopped believing would ever loosen. She had been told by two different people in the hallway this morning to keep her expectations low. She had kept her expectations low for 6 years. Low expectations had not kept her lights on. Devon was 47, built like someone who had once played ball and still carried himself like he hadn't stopped, with a jawline that photographed well and a handshake he'd clearly practiced. He owned 3 Chevrolet dealerships in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, Mesquite, DeSoto, and Grand Prairie. And in the 16 months since Sonya had filed for divorce and initiated proceedings in the 255th, he had told this court, with documentation his attorneys had assembled with genuine artistry, that he was functionally broke, cash poor, asset heavy, liquid light. He had used phrases like floor plan debt exposure and inventory financing obligations with the ease of someone who understood that complexity, wielded correctly, reads as legitimacy. He had submitted 3 financial disclosures. In all 3, Devon Lamar Pritchett, owner of 3 car dealerships that had moved a combined $41 million in vehicle sales in the last fiscal year, claimed a personal monthly income of $6,200. Sonya's attorney, a woman named Patricia Osei, who wore reading glasses on a beaded chain and had the measured energy of someone who had been winning cases quietly for 20 years, had said nothing when she entered the courtroom. She had simply turned on the projector. Devon's attorney, a man named Crawford, first chair, 2 associates behind him, leaned toward Devon and said something low and fast. Devon responded without moving his mouth, still looking at the screen, still wearing the expression of a man working out how far away from a fire he is. Not far enough, it turned out. Judge Vonda B entered and the room rose, and she took her seat and opened the file in front of her and spent 4 minutes reading it with the full and uninterrupted attention she brought to everything in the 255th, and the room waited the way rooms wait when they understand something is about to be confirmed. "Miss Osei," she said finally, "I reviewed your filing from Tuesday. Walk me through what you found." Patricia Osei stood with the composure of someone who had been waiting a long time to stand up in exactly this way. She explained, calmly and in sequence, a private banking institution in Frisco, account opened in 2021 under a limited liability company registered in Nevada, a company with no employees, no operations, no website, and no listed purpose except to receive monthly transfers from the operating accounts of all 3 Pritchett dealerships. The account number ending in 7,741. Current balance as of last Thursday, $411,000. Devon Pritchett looked at the table. "Mr. Pritchett," Judge Vonda B's voice didn't rise. It never rose, it just arrived in the room and filled it completely. "You submitted a financial affidavit to this court in September in which you listed your personal liquid assets as $8,400. She looked at him directly. "You drive a $90,000 vehicle. Your children's health insurance lapsed in July, and you have $400,000 in an account that you chose not to mention." Crawford was already standing. "Your Honor, the account in question belongs to a separate legal entity, and the characterization of those funds as personal assets requires—" "Sit down, counsel." He sat. Judge Vonda B looked at Devon, and Devon looked back at her, and the look that passed between them was not hostile and not warm, and contained the very particular quality of a person finally being fully seen by someone who is not going to look away. "I want to ask you something, and I want you to think carefully before you answer," she said. "Your daughter Amara is 9. Your son Darius is 12. In the last 7 months, their mother has borrowed money from her sister twice. She has filed 2 applications for utility assistance. She has not taken a sick day she could not afford because in the absence of consistent support, a sick day costs her children. She paused. You knew that. You watched that happen from 4 miles away, and every month you made a transfer into an account you thought this court would never find. Sonya Pritchett was crying. Not loudly, she was not the kind of person who cried loudly in public, but steadily, silently, her shoulders moving in small ways, her cold paper cup still held in both hands. And she was not crying because she was sad. She was crying the way people cry when something they stop believing in shows up anyway, late but real and solid and present, and the shock of it breaks through before the relief can catch up. Patricia Osei placed a hand briefly on her arm. Judge Vonda B saw it, gave it a moment, then continued. The ruling ran to 6 paragraphs. Then, full disclosure of all Nevada registered entities within 14 days. Immediate garnishment of the Frisco account pending the outcome of a full forensic review. Back support recalculated at the verified income level, which once the dealership transfers were included, was not $6,200 a month, but something much closer to $38,000, a finding of contempt for the disclosure failures. A referral to the Texas State Bar regarding Crawford's role in the affidavit submissions, phrased in the neutral language of someone who had read the relevant ethics rules before she walked in that morning. Crawford attempted one more objection. Mr. Crawford, Judge Vonda B said, without looking up from the order she was signing, I would encourage you to read the referral language carefully before you say anything else in this courtroom today. He read it, he said nothing else. Devon Lamar Pritchett left through the main doors for the last time as a man with a secret, and somewhere behind him, Sonya Pritchett was still sitting at the counsel table because Patricia Osei had a hand on her arm and was saying something quiet, and Sonya was nodding slowly, and her paper cup was finally empty, and her hands had finally stopped shaking. It turns out $400,000 doesn't make you rich. It just makes you a liar with a longer runway, and eventually every runway ends.